Having $100,000 invested by the time you're 30 is a milestone in becoming a millionaire. I want to have that amount invested by the time that I turn 28. I don't make six figures. I grew up in the lower middle class and sometimes even dipping below that. I had student loans coming out of college and I'm not married. I have no one leaving me money when they die. I'm not being gifted any money for my first home and I'm not getting any money for a wedding. My goal is to be living proof that you can grow up without any of these things and still do financially well. If you're new here, my name is Alexa. I'm 25 and I live in Missouri. Today I'm going to talk about why having $100,000 invested is a huge goal, what my investment contributions each month are, and also what my portfolio is currently sitting at. I'll do a full net worth video when I turn 26 in March, but I'll do one more update on my investment portfolio before March. Why is having $100,000 invested a huge goal anyway? So if you're not really involved in the finance space or you know someone that's doing financially well or is a millionaire, you might not have heard this to begin with. Having $100,000 invested might be a whole new concept. But this is referred to as the tipping point in your investment journey where your money starts working for you. And again, if you haven't been listening to a lot of finance podcasts or reading a lot of finance books, that might not make sense either. What does it mean if your money works for you? Well, traditionally, if you're hourly or salary, we'll start with salary, you are only given your salary if you contribute 40 hours of work each week. If I choose to work 30 hours that week, I'm not getting my pay. Like, that's just how it goes. And then if you're hourly, you get as much money as the amount of hours that you put in. You are trading your time for money and you don't get money if you don't show up for work and you don't put in your hours. When your money works for you, you could be in Europe backpacking off the grid, or you can be asleep, and when you wake up or you come back from the trip, your bank account is going to have more money than it did whenever you left. That's what it means when your money is working for you. You don't have to trade your time for money. Your money is going out and making more money, and whenever you come back without having done any work or traded any time to get more money, you now have more money. Before you hit $100,000, all of the money that you're acquiring from your investments is not enough to replace your actual salary or your current income. You probably shouldn't quit your day job to live off your investment portfolio. It's still important to continue investing, but you're not at the point where your investment is really going to be supplementing that time and you're not really able to buy back any time. But once you hit $100,000, the compound interest is increasing exponentially. What that means is it kind of starts like this and then it shoots up. This is the graphic that I found on Medium, which is an article platform of different topics, but I read some of the finance topics on there. This graphic shows that each time you're trying to reach $100,000 invested, it takes less time than the previous $100,000 did. The first $100,000, that's going to be mostly your contributions and not a lot of gains. As you continue on, your compound interest is assisting you in reaching the next $100,000, so you're not having to put down as much money in order to get to the next $100,000 mark. So now that we understand why $100,000 is a goal, why it's important, why is it relevant to acquire that before you are 30 years old? I think there are two parts to this answer. So the first part is that whenever you're in your 20s, you have time on your side. If you start caring about your retirement in your 20s, you could probably contribute $200 or $300 a month towards your retirement and be a millionaire a lot sooner. The earlier you start investing, the less money you have to contribute each month in order to reach your millionaire status. If you then started in your 40s, you would have to contribute a lot more. And if you're not investing by the time you're 40, you're not going to be used to investing. You're not going to be used to seeing your money leave your pocket so quickly and seeing so much of it leave that it's going to be hard for you to put down what you need to put down in order to reach a millionaire status by retirement. Time in the market is what allows you to acquire wealth easier. It's not that you can't acquire it at all. It's just that you'll have to put in a lot more effort to achieve the same goal versus if you started 20 years sooner or 30 years sooner, because some people start in their 50s. When you take the slower approach, it feels more practical, it feels more balanced, and you're probably more willing to continue doing the thing. If you want to start building a habit, you need to remove the friction. So if you want to start investing, do it when you're younger. That way you can invest less money. And if you never see it again, then, I mean, it doesn't feel that bad, because what would you have spent that on? Going out to eat, like going out to drink? I don't know. It's not as bad. The second part of my answer is really just my opinion, but I think if you are deep in the finance space and you're trying to become a millionaire, I don't think having kids is a top priority based on how much they cost. If you're getting no help from anyone, you're not gifted anything for a home, you have student loans, you're not getting any financial help, I don't think that if your goal is to acquire wealth, having kids young is what you would do. At least it's not what I would do, because I wouldn't have the money that I need to contribute to my financial goals if I had children. It's a whole other ball game if you get help, like what your priorities are, but I do think that a lot of people tell you to do this before you turn 30 because you have the time and the energy since you don't have kids. Specifically the time. You have time to get more money, you have time to get another job, you have time to build a business, you have time to job hop and try a different city if you don't like the one that you're in without having the attachment of a child or children. Why do I want to achieve this by the time I'm 28? One, I just really like the number, but two, I think I want to do that because it would be a challenge. I will definitely have over $100,000 invested if I change nothing in my investment contributions by the time I'm 30. But it would be a challenge for me to have it by the time that I'm 28. Currently, I make a yearly salary of $95,000 before taxes. I graduated with $30,000 in loans. I live alone in a new city closer to downtown, and I have a pet, and I drive a 12-year-old car. My take-home pay after I contribute to my 401k, after I pay my health insurance, my dental insurance, my vision insurance, and contribute to my health savings account or my HSA, which I only contribute $5 a paycheck, so it's really not that much of a contribution, but I still contribute. I bring home $2,576 a paycheck, which is $5,152 a month. After I pay all of my bills, all of my utilities, and my car insurance, all the things that I have to pay and don't really have control over besides probably the rent amount, is $3,000. That's how much I have left to play with buying groceries, transportation, any other variable expenses I need, any subscriptions, my investment strategies, anything that I want to save, paying off my debt. All of that money comes from that $3,000. So after I pay all of my subscriptions, personal and now business, and I say business because I do want to turn my online presence into a business, and I don't currently make any money from social media on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. I make $0. I put in a lot of hours and a lot of effort right now, and I make $0. I started in February putting things out there, but it just goes to show that right now I'm in my 20s, I have the time to try things, and if it goes nowhere, at least I tried, right? So that's where I'm at. After all of those subscriptions, I have $2,500 left. After my debt, I have $2,450 left. I budget about $1,130 for things that I want and need. So that includes gas, groceries, my pet, going out to eat, anytime I go get coffee, any miscellaneous products that I need, whether that's like cleaning products, feminine products, beauty. I have $1,320 left. I save a minimum of $600 a month. I contribute $583 a month to max out my Roth IRA. Since last month, I am promising myself to contribute at least $200 to a taxable brokerage account, but I also have a goal to contribute an extra $100 to that taxable brokerage account so that I can reach $100,000 invested by 28. After I contribute the $600 and the $583, I have $137 left. So to get from $137 to $300, which is what I am wanting to have left, how do I make up the extra $163? Because I have been meeting this. I have a high yield savings account, so I earn money every single month there. I earn at least $80 from my high yield savings account. I also have a part-time job, and I earn anywhere from $100 to $300 a month. Right there, I earn close to $180 extra every single month. And then I also tend to save money in my areas of my budget because I do budget high just so that I am always living in like a worst case scenario, and then I typically have anywhere from like $50 to $200, $300 left over if I don't spend everything. So clearly if I didn't have a part-time job or a high yield savings account, I wouldn't be able to reach my goals. So I think it is important to realize what your goals are, see really where your situation is, what you're willing to budge on and not budge on in your budget. Figure out if you need more money to live the life that you want, then you can go out and make that money. Like, I don't like waking up on Saturday mornings and going to my part-time job, but I like seeing my portfolio grow. So that's just something that I'm willing to do for now to get more money. That's why reaching this goal by 28 is going to be a challenge, because I don't earn it from my primary full-time job. I don't earn it by not prioritizing my goals, and I only get to my goal whenever I'm tracking everything, I'm on top of it, I'm reviewing it, and then I'm sending the extra money to my investments and not spending it on things that I want. I want to build financial habits that are so strong that no matter how much money I make, I'm used to putting most of my money where it needs to go first, whether that's my savings or my investments, and then thinking about my wants second. What do I actually contribute every single month? I contribute $634 a month to my 401k, and that's my employer match at 8%. I contribute $583 a month to my Roth IRA, and I contribute that amount because $7,000, which is the max you can contribute to that account every single year, divided by 12 is $583. Since July, I've contributed $200 a month to my taxable brokerage account, and that's all I'm investing right now. But my goal is to get my taxable brokerage account to $300. The reason I started investing in a taxable brokerage account and not beefing up my 401k is because I want to be able to pull money from my investments prior to retirement, and you can't do that without penalty. So that means you don't get to keep all the money that you actually accumulated in your accounts if you take it out before you're of retirement age. The reason I want to contribute more than $200 a month to my taxable brokerage account is because when I ran through the simulations and I used NerdWallet's calculation, it showed that I would be in the 90,000s by the time I was 28, but not 100K. So I do want to increase my contribution by at least $100 a month to for sure meet that goal by that time. These are all predictions, but it is a good place to start, and it's a good way to check yourself and kind of realign yourself prior to making decisions. Maybe I don't go on as many trips next year, or figure out a different part-time job. I can earn more money that way. Because my current part-time job, I really can't work any more hours than I'm currently working without really ruining my life. So I'm not doing that. I could also spend less on my groceries. That's one area that I could reduce. And I could not go out for coffees, and I could not go out to eat at all. So there are areas that I can move around and have spent less in before if I really wanted to. We'll see how the rest of the year goes, and I might have to change the way that I'm living my life starting next year if I want to hit my goal. I'm not making any money through social media on any platform right now. I have made $22 by selling my budget template, so I am proud of that, even though it's just $22, and whenever you take the taxes out, it's even less than that. But it's something, it's a start. Even if I made no money, I think it would be fulfilling to me if at least one person saw someone that is not a Nepo baby, that isn't coming from generational wealth, building wealth and talking about it and caring about it. If you're not investing, good luck with retirement, because I don't think that not investing will allow you to live without working. I don't think you're going to actually be able to retire if you're not investing right now. So please, at least invest into your Roth IRA account. If you can't max it out, contribute something. Contribute $100 a month. I think, especially if you're in your 20s, $100 a month, I think you could get by working a part-time job. If you're already working many jobs, maybe get a roommate, I don't know, but please do something, because you not doing anything isn't going to help you have any kind of security or freedom. So what is my investment portfolio currently sitting at? I started my more aggressive investment strategy about a year and a half ago, and by aggressive, I mean 22% of my take-home pay is being invested into my 401k, the Roth, and the brokerage. I realized that just saving money wasn't going to get me to my goals, so I know that I need to invest, and I already feel behind because I had student loans. I have $5,000 left. They're sitting at 2.5% interest, so I'm not paying that off because I earn more by investing my money than I lose by my loans. I'm not that worried about it. It's going to get paid off. And if they start to increase the interest for some weird reason, even though I signed a contract that said they couldn't, and it's subsidized and it's a public loan, I would just use my travel savings to pay that off, and I would just not go on a vacation. We're good. But I have a little bit over $36,000 invested in the last 1.5 years. Not all of that are my straight contributions. Some of those are gains. I also, like I said, I also have an employer match, so I think I got $10,000 this year from them. Definitely take advantage of that if you're salaried and your company provides that as a benefit. I would not know all of this about my finances and where I am and how far I need to push myself to get to where I want to be if I didn't track my expenses, if I didn't take the time to sit down and run through these simulations, and if I didn't keep track of how my investments were doing. I don't check this every day. I probably check in with my investments every 1 to 2 weeks just to see where it's at, but I'm not really obsessing over it. I kind of just let the market do what it's going to do, and I trust that I'll have money in 20 years because it's worked for a lot of other people. So we'll see. The budget template that I use to track all of my expenses is on my profile if you want to use that as well. It's how I stay accountable. It's how I keep track of my savings, of my income, of my debt payments, and what I'm sending to my investment accounts. You will not get to the place that you want to be at by accident. You have to plan, you have to know where you're going, you need to assess where you are to be able to tell yourself where you need to go and kind of realign yourself. So please pay attention. So let me know in the comments what your investment percentage is, if you've ever taken a look at that. If you haven't, please go find out and like tell me. I would love to know. Drop any topics that you want me to talk about or learn about so they're not as confusing for you. I want to be helpful. I would love to learn more so that I can explain it a little bit better and kind of give my opinion on things. Please give this video a like if you liked it. Send it to your finance accountability partner if you both are trying to reach 100K by your 30s as well. We can all be on the 100K journey together. Subscribe to my channel if you want to continue watching my path to wealth. Thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next one.